Time magazine telling us that it's not true that Kamala Harris supports, I'm not going to say supported, she hasn't reversed herself, taxpayer-funded sex change operations for illegal immigrants and prisoners. Illegal immigrants and incarcerated people. Trump raised this at the debate, and many in the left-wing media freaked out, saying it was another crazy Trump lie. Notably, there was no question about this by the ABC moderators. And then you had reactions. I'll get to the Time magazine, but just I'll give you a taste for how this went. Here's Keith Olbermann in SOT 5.
There was then an extraordinary moment in which, what were we expecting in an hour and a half long debate? 50, 60 outright fabrications and lies, all of them familiar. Well, we have a new one. We have Kamala Harris wants to take your tax money to perform transgender operations on illegal immigrants. The fact that she was able to manage for 90 minutes, almost without interruption, a look of, I'm about to burst into laughter, but I'll manage to control myself because I love the flag, is something I've never seen before in politics.
Okay, so he's obviously an extreme nutcase. But let me tell you about Time magazine. Time magazine. The headline is How Kamala Harris Knocked Donald Trump Off Course. The former president repeated a baseless internet rumor that migrant invaders were killing and eating pet dogs and cats in Springfield, Ohio, and claimed that Harris wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. This is all under the auspices of how off-base and afactual Trump is. They had to issue a correction yesterday at Time magazine. Quote, this story mischaracterized as false Donald Trump's statement accusing Harris of supporting transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. As a presidential candidate in 2019, Harris filled out a questionnaire saying she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition treatment for detained immigrants. They had to call themselves out after all the blowback they got, because this is not Breitbart reporting that Kamala Harris reported this, and I like Breitbart, but I'm just saying the left wing always dismisses them. It was CNN and Andrew Kaczynski at K-File, who now is being harassed because of his reporting and unearthing this ACLU questionnaire she filled out over the death of his young baby daughter by insane lunatics on the left. Then there's the New Yorker's Susan Glazer, who is a far left loon. She has a piece titled Donald Trump Had a Really, Really Bad Night. His line about how the vice president, quote, wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison was pretty memorable. What the hell was he talking about? No one knows, which is, of course, exactly Harris's point. As of 5 p.m. last night, I haven't checked it yet this morning, no correction by the New Yorker or Susan Glazer. This is the K-File report by Andrew Kaczynski. He did what a reporter should do. He pulled her ACLU questionnaire she filled out in 2019. And indeed, she answered yes to all of this controversial stuff, saying indeed that, let me find it. Let me get it exactly. Okay. She supported taxpayer funding of gender transition surgeries for detained immigrants and federal prisoners. Harris was asked if, as president, she would use executive authority to ensure that transgender and non-binary people who rely on the state for medical care, including those in prison and in immigration detention, will have access to comprehensive treatment associated with gender transition, including all necessary surgical care. Harris replied, quote, yes. And then she added, quote, this is her writing, it is important that transgender individuals who rely on the state for care receive the treatment they need, which includes access to treatment associated with gender transition. She viewed gender transition treatment, quote, as a medical necessity and said, I will direct all federal agencies responsible for providing essential medical care to deliver transition treatment. This is a scandal, and the media failure and actual pushback on it is a secondary scandal. And the fact that ABC did not raise this at all is a third scandal connected with scandals 1 and 2. Your thoughts?
Well, first off, I've seen video of Kamala Harris, which is now circulating, where she essentially states that position and actually takes credit.
We have it where she's speaking of what she did for prisoners. No, it's okay. I'll let you finish.
Right, for prisoners.
That's where she's speaking what she did for prisoners. The additional bonus of funding these procedures for all illegal immigrants here is another piece of it.
But I'm just saying, I mean, there's no question about this. The only question is how long the media thinks they'll be able to lie and then pivot. I mean, look, Megyn, as far as I'm concerned about all this stuff, is from what I see, it's a good news, bad news situation. I'll start with the bad news. There's going to be nothing but what you are talking about until the election, because this is the whole game plan. It is impossible for them to be honest about Kamala Harris's record or just who she is and what she stands for, and have a realistic shot at winning this election. They know that, okay? They're not so delusional that they think that if it came out what Kamala has stood for, not just, it's not like we're dredging stuff up from what she wrote about in a college editorial. This is when she was vice president. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can see.
She was running for vice president in 2019.
I mean, these are all of her beliefs until 5 weeks ago. I mean, this whole thing is absurd.
But that's the thing about this one. She's done nothing to reverse this, unlike all the other things. And we can talk about whether those are real reversals, but she has not reversed this.
Yeah, well, I think that she won't reverse it, by the way, no matter how much pressure, no matter what comes out about it. She'll do what she has done up to this point, which is bizarre. But again, I understand the strategy. It's have surrogates tell media allies she's no longer on that position, so that then people like me and you and anyone else out there who just wants to get to the truth is always hit with this, hey, here's Kamala's policy. Oh, that's not her policy anymore. And you go, says who? Says some anonymous source from the campaign that told Politico or Axios or whatever. It's absurd. But we have to remember that they used this same tactic in 2020 of hiding Biden. So they were able to hide a dementia patient from the American people. And by the way, I know he got worse, and I would admit that he got worse over the last 4 years, but it was clear that he had lost many a step and wasn't where he needed to be even 4 years ago. They hid a dementia patient from the American people, made him president. They're trying to hide a communist from the American people, or a far left radical, or however you want to describe it, a San Francisco Bay progressive. They're trying to hide who she is until after the election. Then it's, fooled you. But I told you there's a good news part of this. The good news part of this is that the more that this has set in, I think, Megyn, the more the reality comes to the forefront for anybody who is still thinking about this election, meaning they're not in for one side or in for the other. It's just a sham. What the media did, what ABC did, I mean, you couldn't have scripted it any more clearly that there's a machine that's operating against Trump. And I think the good news for Trump is he defies the laws of legacy media gravity. They can throw everything they have at him. They can throw 4 criminal prosecutions at him, as they have. They can break all kinds of norms and cross Rubicons and throw institutions out the window in order to get Trump, and somehow it doesn't stop him. And I actually think that they're getting increasingly desperate, which is why what you're talking about, again, the Kamala, they're trying to back up Kamala, but it's so sloppy that it's actually just going to bring more attention to how dishonest the whole Kamala campaign is. So that's how I see it playing out right now.
The attempted fact check of Time Magazine and the New Yorker of Trump's comment, only to have it come boomerang back in their faces. They can't believe, even they can't believe she's this radical. This K-File report didn't get enough attention. It really has been almost ignored by most in the mainstream media, corporate media. And it doesn't stop there. Here's just a quick one. This is, a problem for people like me and you, but here she is. He references in this piece of the fact that when she was at a town hall event in New Hampshire in April 2019, she was asked by a voter if she supports adding a third gender to federal ID cards. It's quick, but watch.
Right. So as president, I was wondering, would you recognize a third gender marker on federal IDs?
Sure. Sure. She wants a third gender. She wants us to pay for sex change operations for people who are here illegally and for felons who are in prison. And then this thing goes on to talk about what she wants to do on the border. You know, now she's John Wayne. She's down there. She's personally wants us to believe when she was AG and DA, she was down there making sure none of them there immigrants are coming across that southern border. It isn't true. This is, what she said. And immigration. When asked about criminal justice reform, she wrote she would end immigration detention facilities along with private prisons related to immigrants. Harris also said she supported decreasing funding for ICE dramatically, that she wanted to end the use of ICE detainers, meaning ICE requests to local and state law enforcement to hold an individual up to 48 hours beyond their release time so ICE can take them into custody. That's sanctuary city. What she's saying is she wants to make this a sanctuary country, that ICE would no longer be able to issue detainers anywhere, because she would like to end the use of ICE detainers so that all illegals who commit crime in this country, if arrested on petty crime, would not be turned over to ICE and deported. This is radical stuff. And then they point out that as San Francisco DA, she supported immigrants' rights by defending the city's sanctuary status.
Yeah. Look, Megyn, the one area where I had some frustration with Trump, just in terms of getting across his message, was on the border and really just on the invasion of this country by illegals who are overwhelmingly scamming the system. They know what they're doing. They're abusing the system, and they're abusing it really in collusion with the Biden-Harris administration. The numbers are absolutely staggering. I don't think Trump actually got out during the debate, and I think this is a good opportunity to remind everybody that when all's said and done, the number of people who are inadmissible, and you get into all these legal technicalities, right? There's a legal entry, but then they do secondary or defensive asylum requests. So then they're technically in the country legally for a period pending their asylum hearing. Oh, does anyone want to know how many people are pending their asylum hearing? It's in the millions right now. They're not going to be seeing asylum judges until 2045 or something. It's a total disaster. 10 plus million illegals coming into the country over the course of Biden's 4 years, which of course Kamala Harris is the number 2 and was the border czar for. And if anyone's wondering, what does enforcement look like under the Biden administration? If I could have just whispered this into Trump's ear, and again, I think overall, actually, him dealing with the onslaught really sort of did what it needed to do for him, which is just look at what a scam, what a sham this is. But if I could have whispered something in his ear, it'd be not only 10 plus million illegals, and that's an estimate, I'll admit that. That's actual illegal entries, which is over 8 million in 4 years. 10.4 million. Plus all the gotaways.
2.34 under Trump. 2.34 under Trump's 4 years, 10.4 under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Go ahead.
And that was the beginning of the scam, by the way, of using a whole bunch of loopholes that Trump then closed down and said, hold on, we can't allow this anymore. Biden intentionally opened it back up.
As a kid, you loved eating cereal, right? But as an adult, you don't want all that sugar. And most cereals do not have the protein you need. But then there's Magic Spoon, a nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like your childhood favorites, but without the sugar and with a ton of protein. And now Magic Spoon has turned their super popular cereal into high protein treats that are light, crispy, and taste just like those classic crunchy cereal bars. Magic Spoon's brand new treats are so delicious, and they can serve as a before or after gym snack. Magic Spoon's treats are an easy way to get 11 grams of protein on the go. And for the first time ever, Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. Get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/MK or look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. Magicspoon.com/MK for $5 off. Magic Spoon, hold on to the dream. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.